Thanks for the introduction, Ingo, and thanks a lot for the invitation. It's I'm really happy to run this session with you. The title is How to Navigate Uncertainty, and I would like to share some lessons learned from creativity, design thinking, and hiking. So this is the first picture here from one hiking tour through Nepal, and behind me, this is the Mount Everest, but I will talk about this a little bit later, a little bit more. Yeah. So my name is Jochen. I live in Karlsruhe in Germany, and I'm a design thinker, business coach, and also Gestalt therapist. And when I talk about how to navigate through uncertain times, this is really completely independent for the current crisis. This is also true for me because, as Ingo said, I left SAP after 23 years last year, end of last year. I did there 10 years design thinking, innovation consulting, and now my plan was at least to start as a freelancer. And probably this year and these times are not the best time to start as a freelancer. So also for me, really uncertain times. But let's see what comes next. It's definitely really interesting for me to run this at the moment. Yeah. When we do design thinking, of course, we are also interested in talking about our job, but even more, we are more interested in the people we do these workshops, and therefore we like to tell small stories about us. So these are some small stories about myself. On the left side, you see a picture from my living room. Because I really love to organize sofa concerts where I invite musicians and also friends and friends of friends and friends of friends of friends. So in the end, we have 30 to 50 people. And this is really always a nice Saturday evening with really good music and really nice conversations and, of course, also cold drinks. This is at the moment not that easy to do. Therefore, I also run now online sofa concerts. And this is also a very interesting thing I do at the moment. Then I play trumpet. I love to dance, techno when I have the choice, and I love to drink cappuccino in the sun. I hope you had a good conversation, and you met some interesting people. I would like to continue now, and I would like to discuss a little bit the two topics, creativity and also uncertainty, because I think this is both a challenge and, of course, also opportunity. This picture is typically a picture I show in the beginning of normally every design thinking workshop, because doing a design thinking workshop, for example, is often really out of the comfort zone for a lot of participants. And I think this is very, very typical for when you start working creatively and also doing something new. Of course, this is out of your comfort zone, and therefore, of course, necessarily, this is also uncertain. Yeah? And this picture shows it very well. This is the blank, empty canvas. And so imagine the artist standing in front of this blank white canvas. There's nothing on this canvas, but of course, everything is possible. And I think this fear of the artist to what to do now if everything is possible, but nothing is there, this really describes very well, from my point of view, this relationship between creativity and also uncertainty. There's also a nice quote about this. That's why what creativity is, assaulting uncertainty on a daily basis, from Todd Henry. This, I think, really describes it well. And another one I also like: creativity is an unending exercise in uncertainty. Yeah? And this is really sure from my point of view, because if you want to create something new, you must leave the well-known areas, and then you have to go into these uncertain areas. Yeah? This picture shows this also on a nice way, because the typical design process, when we start, for example, a design thinking project, of course, we have often a very fluffy question, a very fluffy design challenge, and we do not know exactly what to do, and we even do not understand the question, perhaps. So we start with a lot of steps, and we are iterating, and we are failing, and we do it again and again, and hopefully, in the end, of course, somehow we will come back to a more clarity in the end. And this process is, of course, also sometimes really hard to run through. Yeah? On the other side, I see a lot of opportunities when I do creative work and when I do design thinking workshops. This is a picture from one of my very first projects almost 10 years ago. This was a project with the Sailing Team Germany, where our task was to build some kind of a knowledge database for sailors and coaches. And of course, we had no clue about sailing in these days. So we started research, and we started, for example, visiting the Kiel Sailing Week, where we had a chance to learn and to interview and observe sailors and coaches. And therefore, we learned a lot about the topic. And this is, for me, one of the most interesting and most thrilling things when I do design thinking and really creative work, that I have always the chance to learn something new. You know? Another thing which I really love when I do this kind of work and when I navigate through uncertainty, when I go into this uncertainty, is that I can always grow outside my comfort zone and also my typical corporate comfort zone. This is a picture from the Impact Week. This movement we started in 2015, and the goal is that we train professors and teachers, and then together with them we run design thinking workshops with their students. And this was the Impact Week in Kigali, in Rwanda, and this was a really stressful and intensive time. But of course, I also learned and really grew up on a really personal level. Yeah? Last but not least, when I start doing something creative without knowing what is the result, sometimes really cool things came up, and this is a project I did, or I still do with a colleague, Gina Schöler, where we named this Redesign You, where we combine design thinking and personal development, and we organize inspiration nights and online energizers and workshops and also retreats. And this is something which is a really nice result and which could happen when you go into the uncertainty. Okay, so these are only some thoughts about the challenge and the opportunity when you have this uncertainty. And now I would like to go into a more interactive session. When we start a typical design thinking project, we have the so-called design challenge. And the design challenge is typically a question which somehow formulate the task to do. Yeah? And typically this is not really sharp. This is really open. And for this exercise today, I would like to formulate this design challenge in a way that how might I better navigate uncertainty? I thought about, of course, we have at the moment a lot of uncertainty, and we have a global crisis. And of course, there are really challenges for our society, for companies, for teams. But for this session, I would like to focus on a really personal level, because I think everybody from us has also really personal challenges. Yeah. So when we start this question, how might I better navigate uncertainty? Probably you think about, okay, what is the question? The question is still not clear. And therefore, probably when you start navigating the uncertainty, it's perhaps good to take some time to better understand what is the real question I want to solve. Yeah? And there's also a nice quote from Tim Brown about this. Design thinking, this is bridging the knowing-doing gap. So the tools of the design thinker are ways of deepening what we know and widening the impact of what we do. And especially in the beginning, I think this deepening what we know, so learning about a problem before starting building solutions, this is very, very, I think, helpful and also important. Yeah? And there's one important question when you want to learn, this is the why. Yeah? And sometimes there's the golden rule that you have to ask 5 times why until you find the real reason, what is behind this. And so this overall curiosity is really important to start this journey. Yeah? And this is exactly what we will do now. So what is the real question you have to solve for you at the moment, yeah, in this overall times of the crisis? Yeah? So this is the first interactive session. So you need now your paper and your pen. So think about how might I better navigate uncertainty. This was the overall starting point. This was the design challenge. But which concerns do you have in mind when you think about this design challenge? Yeah? So, for example, when I thought about this, when I start now my new job as a freelancer with the current situation, I have questions in mind. For example, like, what should I do now after SAP? Or what is the right decision to leave SAP? Yeah? Of course, how can I get jobs as freelancer now? Yeah? How can I offer online services, perhaps? Yeah? Because everybody is somehow offering online services now, or even how can I get a new job? Yeah? So these aspects all came into my mind, and then I thought about, okay, what is the most important aspect at the moment I would like to solve? And then, of course, this was the question, how can I get jobs as freelancer now? Yeah? So this is the first step. You have 3 minutes. Think about this overall question, how might I better navigate uncertainty, and think about which questions, which concerns do you have in mind at the moment for you personally, where does your shoe pinch? 3 minutes, write down 5 or 6 aspects and perhaps mark also the most important question for you at the moment. Okay, time is running. Okay, time is over. I stopped the time. So this is, of course, only the first step. 1 second. In the next step, of course, sometimes it's interesting. Now you have perhaps somehow a question where you think that this is an important question, but often it's really worth to double check this. Yeah, what is really behind this question? Yeah, because too often we start too fast creating a solution for a question without understanding if this is the real question. Yeah, and therefore it's sometimes interesting to really check. Okay, assuming that this question would be solved, what would be the benefits for you? Yeah. So when I look back to my question about more jobs as a freelancer, so what would be the benefits for me? And of course, for example, clearly I would earn money here. I would have something to do. No need to overthink my situation too much. I would be more relaxed, perhaps. I would feel more safe. Yeah? And also have a clearer structure of my working day. Yeah? And when I then started thinking about these potential benefits, of course, the money was something relatively easy. But in the end, I really found out, okay, it's much more important for me this benefit that there's no need to overthink my situation too much, and that I would be more relaxed in the end. Because when I started this freelancing job beginning of this year, this was a really hard time, also independent from the crisis now. So this to be more relaxed about the situation would be really helpful for me, and therefore this would be my main benefit I would see. Yeah? So this is the second step for you now. So think about your question you selected in the first step, and think about potential benefits you would see if you would solve this question for you. Yeah? And then collect 4 or 5 benefits, and then mark also 1 or 2 of these benefits which are most important to you. Yeah? 3 minutes. Think about what is really behind, what would be the benefit for you. Okay, time is up again. I promised in the beginning that I also will talk a little bit about some hiking stories, and this is a story from Nepal. This was a hiking tour. This was the Annapurna round, which is a 3-week hiking around the Annapurna mountain. And this is a really nice hiking tour because you start in the jungle, and then in the end you are in the high mountains, almost 5,600 meters. And this picture, this was in the middle of the jungle. Do not walk alone in the jungle. And of course, this is definitely true when you hike through an unknown jungle in Nepal. But this is also true if you navigate through uncertainty. And therefore, one lesson learned, and this is definitely true for any kind of a creative process, that you should not do this alone. Yeah, that you should find people doing this together, perhaps also a coach or a mentor, but also colleagues or family who can give you feedback and who can help you to work on this challenge. And this is exactly what we want to do in the next step. So this is the step number 3. What do others think about this? So Ingo will start another round for the breakout rooms with 3 or 4 people, and you have 9 minutes to talk about your question and also the potential benefits, and then you can also give each other feedback and thoughts about this. So please turn on again your audio and your video, and Ingo will start the breakout rooms. So share your questions and your potential benefits and get feedback from the others. Welcome back to the main session. I hope you had a good conversation and you get some good feedback about your potential question and also potential benefits. And the next step, of course, is now that we want to reframe the question, because this is often a really important step before starting finding solutions, that you then, based on your learnings now try to find a better question for you, which should be solved now. Yeah. So for me, this is a question. This is an example. How might I structure my working day at home with a lot of time and almost no fixed appointments or project deadlines? to help me to stay relaxed, healthy, and constructive, and to see my current situation more as a gift and less as a disaster. So, and if you remember our starting point, this was this very open design challenge, how to navigate better in these uncertain times. And then my question was how to get more jobs as a freelancer. And this is now a complete different question, a much more concrete question, and a question which really fits to my needs, so to say. Yeah? And this is the idea of this step. So think about your question, think about these benefits you saw, and also perhaps also with the feedback from the others, try to reformulate, reframe your question in a way that it really fits to your current status and what's really most important for you now at the moment. 3 minutes to reformulate the question you want to solve then in the next step. Time is up again. So this investment into understanding the question you want to solve, this is really definitely something I can really recommend, not only when running design thinking projects, but also if you have personal questions, take some time to really understand what is the real question. And of course, then now you can start now also building or finding ideas. And here there's a nice quote from David Kelly about this. The big thing about design thinking is that it allows people to build on the ideas of others instead of just having that one thread. Yeah. So doing brainstormings together, building on ideas of others, this is typically very, very helpful. And because this is so, we will do this now. This is another breakout session with 2 or 3 people. And the invitation now to you is, so if you have your question, present your question to the others, and then collect 3 or 4 really crazy ideas. So do not think too much about feasibility or viability. Really throw out the really wild ideas and think big how you can solve this problem the others present with the question. Yeah? So Ingo will start another breakout session, and we have around 8 minutes to do for every of your question a very short brainstorming session and go for wild ideas. So welcome back from the brainstorming. We had some technical problems. So not everybody was part of a breakout room, but nevertheless, we had here also in the main room some really interesting brainstormings about doing workouts at home. So hopefully you found also some nice ideas, some crazy ideas, how to solve your problem. And I think it's really good to think big and to have visions and to have crazy ideas. This is another story from the hiking area. This was almost on the summit of the island peak. This was also a crazy idea when I thought, let's go on a mountain which is 6,189 meters. And this was almost on the summit. So this was a big dream. And in the end, it really worked out. So I think for me, it's really good to have crazy ideas. But before that, the picture was more or less this. This is a typical trail in Nepal with a lot of small steps. Yeah? And this was also a really good learning for me that even the biggest dream, you have to do a lot of small steps, and you have to start with small steps perhaps. And then if you do it one step after each other, you can even be on the summit of the island peak. Yeah? And for this is the next step, and I think also a very important step in our small exercise. Having a big idea, having a crazy idea, this is good. But what is the smallest step towards a solution you can do now or tomorrow or next week? Yeah? And this is the last step of our small exercise. And then I would like to invite you to think about keeping in mind what is the big idea you have here. But starting is important. So what can you do tomorrow or in the next 7 days, in the next week, to really start with your plan, with your idea? So write down 3 things. What is your plan for the next week? And this could be a very small step, but you should do it. What do you need for this step perhaps, and who could help you? Yeah? So for this 3 minutes, write down 1 concrete step you can do to start towards your crazy big solution. Yeah? 3 minutes, time is running. So this is important to have one concrete step to start. And this is the last story from the hiking area. These are some pictures from the Camino Portugués, and this was a hiking tour I did with my daughter in 2018 for 3 weeks from Porto to Santiago, around 500 kilometers. And this was a very, very special time for me and a big thing. And this was so beautiful that I even wrote a book about this. So this was a big thing, really a dream also. And on the other side, when we arrived in the end, our iPhone said that it was 650,000 small steps. Yeah? And this was also for me a very good learning that even the biggest dreams and the biggest things are a lot of small steps. And therefore, if you want to navigate uncertainty, perhaps the most important thing is that you keep on going, yeah? That you do step by step and that you do not stop. Yeah? So this is a clear recommendation also from my side. And of course, if you start doing something, if you start changing something, if you do what you one or the other step, then you will also fail. Yeah? And the best thing you can do with your failures is to really celebrate it. And this is a nice quote from Bernard Roos, who is the author of the book from the Achievement Habit. Don't be afraid of failure. It is part of the price you pay for action. Yeah? And I really love this quote because if you start doing something, if you start changing something, navigating through the uncertainty, yeah, yes, there will be failures, but you should really celebrate it. Yeah? And of course, sometimes it's also good to just sit down and relax and enjoy the view. This is a picture from the Westweg. This is a hiking tour from Basel, from Potsdam to Basel through the whole Black Forest. And sometimes even in the uncertain time, it sometimes is the best thing you can do is sit down and really enjoy the view. And this is, by the way, my solution for my challenge to be more relaxed. So I created a really structured day for me where I, for example, start and end with this meditation. I have working time in the morning. I go out in the afternoon. I really take time to prepare the dinner because normally I go to restaurants and therefore this is good for me to really self-prepare my dinner. And by all these small things, this really helps me to be more relaxed about the current situation. And that I really use this free time I have at the moment, not to fear, but to really learn and to read and to experiment, for example, also with online formats. Yeah. Okay, I think due to the time, we will skip the last checkout and we directly go to the book recommendations because everybody has now a lot of time at the moment and we are sitting at home and we have time. So why not reading some good books? So these are this is a collection of books about life design and design thinking and also creativity, and I can recommend all of them. And if you have some motivation for this, this is really valuable from my point of view. Yeah? And the last quote comes from Eckhart Tolle, who is the author of the Power of Now. If uncertainty is unacceptable to you, it turns into fear. If it is perfectly acceptable, it turns into increased aliveness, alertness, and creativity. And this is my wish and my hope for you, that you see also these times of uncertainty as a chance for creative solutions and for creative change. And with that, I think we are at the end, and we have perhaps also even some time for some questions or remarks or whatever. Thank you very much.